Is Elon Musk really making Twitter a less safe space? Musk has only owned Twitter for less than a week, but he's already sent a clear message. The platform is about to get worse for queer people. Can we stop the madness now? What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. So, once again, the chicken littles of the LGBTQ community have decided to rear their ugly little heads and remind us all what a scary place the world is. You know, I really am tired of these people constantly making it seem like things are terrible. Let me tell you, there has never been a better time in this country to be LGBTQIA+. Never in history have people humored us the way that they do right now. So thank your lucky stars for that, LGBT people. But understand that if things go backwards, it's only because other people from within our community have made it that way. Because when it comes to things being anti-LGBT, the things that they cite in this particular article that it's linked to, because there's an article that it's linked to, and I'll link that down below so you guys can see it. My friend Andrew was the one that brought this to my attention, so thank you, Andrew. He sent it to me on Twitter. But when I read the article was basically talking about the fact that Elon Musk had shared an article that was about Paul Pelosi and the break-in they had. That's Nancy Pelosi's husband, if you're not familiar. And a person that they said was a male prostitute that Paul Pelosi had hired and brought back to his place from a gay bar. Now, the reason they said that was because originally KTVU Fox 2 in the Bay Area had reported that David DePape is the name of the man that is the alleged prostitute, or was the alleged ex-prostitute, or however you want to word that. But they said that he was arrested in his underwear. All right, so before we go any further, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your comments really do help me out on the algorithm. But if you don't know what to comment and you want to help me out with that algorithm, just go ahead and put, let's do the tooth one more time. We all know I have a fake tooth right now. It is what it is. So, leave the tooth. That turned out not to be true. Paul Pelosi was in his boxers. Well, it's allegedly not true. See, it's really hard to tell what's what, just because when the local news initially reported that, and then that stays the story for a couple of days, and then people's imaginations run wherever they run, and then you do have some disingenuous online publication that maybe spreads something that doesn't seem like it's probably the truth and might be half true. Who knows what the story is? But anyway, Elon Musk had shared that, and for some reason, then they said that that was anti-LGBTQ, which I don't really know how that's anti-LGBTQ, because I really don't get how saying that he was a gay prostitute and that they were possibly having an affair equates to anti-LGBTQ. That may be spreading misinformation, that much I'll give you, but saying it's anti-LGBTQ doesn't really make sense. Then they were also saying that since Elon Musk acquired Twitter, the anti-black slurs have gone up by 500%. Okay, well, let's really think about that. When Elon Musk came in, he immediately cut half of the workforce at Twitter. So he fired 3,700 people. A lot of those people were the people that were in charge of moderating and making sure that everybody was living up to terms of service and not doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, talking about things that they shouldn't be talking about, using words that they shouldn't be using, bullying, all that kind of stuff. So when you consider that these are the people whose jobs have been lost, and there were even more that were possibly in danger, and then all of a sudden there's a 500% spike the day that Elon Musk takes over, it really does sound like people that possibly want to make sure their friends get their jobs back, or some of their friends get their jobs back, people that want to make sure that they have job security. Because for some reason, these people that moderate at Twitter are trying to gaslight us all into thinking that they've been protecting us all this time. I stopped being on Twitter. I mean, like, I still kept my account, but I very rarely used it at a point because it just wasn't fun anymore, because everything you said got you in trouble. If you weren't automatically going for the far left point of view or just the left point of view, it wasn't a fun place for you to be, because people would tell you the most vile things and you would get suspended, but then they wouldn't. I literally had somebody tell me one time, there was a trans man that called me a fag and told me that they hoped I died of AIDS. So then I reminded him that he still had lady hips. I got suspended, he did not. How does that make sense? But that's the way Twitter was working for a long time. And I remember that originally Twitter was fun. And that's why if you notice the times that people got in trouble on Twitter, it all is kind of between 2009 and 2012. Like if you ever pay attention to like when Kevin Hart got in trouble, all the old tweets, about 2014, 2015 is when things really changed on Twitter. Another reason that we're supposed to all be scared about this situation is because Elon Musk has kind of hinted that Jordan Peterson may be able to get back on Twitter. So the thing with Twitter and Jordan Peterson was Jordan Peterson got in trouble and got suspended from Twitter back when Elliot Page, who had transitioned from the artist formerly known as Page. I'm not going to say their former name because who knows if maybe one day YouTube is going to institute the rule of dead naming people being a punishable sin by getting your whole channel taken down, and I don't want that to happen. But what he said was, remember when pride was a sin, and blank Page just had her breast removed by a criminal physician. Now, do I agree with what Jordan Peterson said in that tweet? I do not. Do I like Jordan Peterson? Yes, I actually do. I think some of the advice that he gives to young men is very valuable. I know I'm not a young man, but I have taken some of his advice myself. I think he's a great speaker. I think he offers an opposite point of view that doesn't come from a hateful place, even though people always try to change it to that. But that's just the way I personally feel about it. But I do think that he says things in an intelligent enough way that he definitely does deserve a voice in the discourse that's happening right now, especially when it comes to LGBT, because a lot of what the extreme LGBT are trying to push is getting a lot of pushback right now. And it's even getting pushback from other LGBT people. And I keep trying to warn you, I'm not trying to be a Chicken Little, but I am trying to say that we're really going to lose this culture war and take a lot of steps back if we don't actually put the reins on our own people and say, hey, you guys, let's not be so crazy about this. It's just something that we have to do. If you really love your friends, sometimes you do have to correct them. Sometimes you do have to step in and say, hey, maybe we're going a little too far. Like I said, when it comes to that tweet Jordan Peterson put out, Elliot Page is an adult. So whatever he chooses to do with his body is what he chooses to do with his body. And I don't agree with Jordan Peterson dead naming him, because I come from the school of, if you're handling yourself in a respectful manner, I think that we can give you the respect of calling you whatever it is you want to be called. And that's the way I do it with everybody. If Elliot Page was doing something terribly disrespectful and him and Jordan Peterson were in a one-to-one argument and they were reading each other, as we would say in my community, that being the gay community. I'm going to say the gay community right now because there's a movement called #GayNotQueer, and that's what I'm leaning towards. I'm going to have to look into it because I don't want to find out that I'm all of a sudden alt-right and get banned off of everything. But there's a movement called #GayNotQueer, #GayNotQueer, and I'm really going to have to look into it because those people seem to be saying some interesting things and some things that I really agree with. But anyway, if Jordan Peterson were to come back to Twitter, do I think it would be the worst thing in the world for LGBT people? No. Do I think LGBT people need to get a little bit of a thicker skin? Most definitely. Do I think that maybe every once in a while it does you a little bit of good to hear some things that you don't necessarily like to hear? I most definitely do. I've been on social media for a long time. I hear negative things about my tattoos. I hear negative things about my lips. I hear negative things about my hair. I hear negative things about everything you can imagine. Everything you could possibly pick out on me, I hear negative things about it. And you know what it's done? It's toughened me up. It's made me so I don't feel like I'm gonna break if somebody says something that I don't like. And when you first hear the things you don't like, it definitely will be a shocker for you. Kathy Griffin is dealing with that right now. She got suspended from Twitter, which Kathy Griffin is no kind of activist ever, because back when she did her headless Donald Trump picture, she really thought she was cute, and then they put the clamps on her and she got completely canceled, and suddenly she turned into poor Kathy Griffin, and then she did the famous
"He broke me. He broke."
Which once you do that, I have no respect for you as an activist. You already admitted the opposition completely broke you. So you as an activist, no, Kathy Griffin. And what she did really was against Twitter terms of service. So that wasn't Elon Musk just singling her out. It's always been against terms of service to impersonate another person. I mean, you can do parody, but you can't impersonate another person. And she did completely change her default picture. And she also changed her name so that it would say Elon Musk. And then she said that he's supporting the left, her tweeting as Elon Musk. And it was considered impersonation. It wasn't made clear that it was a parody, and she got her head chopped off. Like, she's now suspended from Twitter, maybe permanently, maybe not. But whatever it is, that was against terms of service, and you can't be the people that have been for the last several years telling us. Bridget Fetisi just tweeted this, and I'm paraphrasing here. She did say it was the same dipshits that kept telling us freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences all along. And then now those are the same people that are complaining because they're dealing with consequences. They're just mad because they're losing power. And I do agree with that tweet that she put out. That's 100% what it is. And what this all comes down to is business. Right now, me and a bunch of other people are returning to Twitter. And I think a lot of everyday people are going to return to Twitter because Facebook is definitely lacking. It's not as fun as it used to be. You get suspended for everything. There's a hole in the market right now for freedom of speech. Yes, we all do see a reason for certain terms of service and to not allow certain online bullying, doxing. There's certain things, call to action, calls for violence. That's stuff we all can agree with. But a lot of the stuff that Facebook is enforcing right now has made it so social media isn't fun. So if Twitter steps in and all of a sudden is more fun and offers something different, and Elon Musk has every reason to try to make this work because he bought it for, I believe it was $44 billion, $13 billion of that he had to borrow. He's going to have to pay $1 billion in interest. He said that Twitter is losing $4 million a day. So he immediately cut the staff in half. He offered them 3 months of severance, I believe was what he offered, which he says is 50% more than he's legally required to allow. And then he's decided that some of the people that he got rid of, he wants to bring back on. So we'll see how that plays out. But he has every reason to try to make this successful. So I really do believe he's going to do everything he can to, in fact, make it successful. And if that means giving people just a little bit more freedom and letting people be able to discuss these things, because I'm fine if you disagree with me, and feel free to disagree with me respectfully in the comments. But for some reason, the people on the left and the people that are more extreme on the left have really gotten to this place where they think they're above reproach, where suddenly you're not allowed to argue with them. You're not allowed to say anything different than what they consider reality to be, even if that reality doesn't match up with science. Like, if we're going to talk about the things that we need to talk about when it comes to LGBT, when it comes to race, when it comes to politics, when it comes to jokes, just everything that we need to talk about, then we need to have everything on the table. And that means every once in a while saying some things that maybe a small group of people that are not running the world may not like. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, this has been Thairivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.